Welcome to another episode of Third Wheel.
At night.
It is a late episode at the time of filming. I am exhausted. I am on my fourth cup of coffee that Darci was so kind to make, as well as some from Chick-fil-A and 151 coffee. They make some good stuff, sugar-free. I recommend it. I fully endorse it. It is the official coffee of the Third Wheel podcast at night.
And if it's your first time, they'll give you your first coffee for free.
That is true. I highly recommend it. All right, Darci, will you please care to introduce us to what we have to talk about today?
Yeah, of course.
You give the best introduction.
So a while ago, we don't really have a lot of married couple friends, and the ones we do, I feel like I can't really relate to very well on. And so I ran across a Facebook group that was Christian marriage advice and something else. And so I was like, oh, this should be fun. I'll join it. There's other Christian couples. Maybe we can relate to each other and different kind of things. And the things I saw and the things I read.
And had to share with me.
And just had to share. I was like, this is wild. And so also as another preface, some of these women or men are reaching out for help for a very serious situation. And those are not the ones we're making fun of. When we read those generally, it's because there's a comment that's so just out of pocket and not even realistic, like good advice, you know? And it really baffles me sometimes too, because it's supposed to be like Christian advice. And so whenever...
These are people who are supposed to pull wisdom from.
Right.
Okay, they're supposed
Bible verses.
Supposedly they hear from the Lord. Mm-hmm. They speak on his behalf. And as you know, that drives me up the wall because they're so clearly wrong. So, all right. Is this the same one that said, ladies, lower your expectations? And men, step up to the plate.
Yeah, it's the same exact one.
Fantastic. This one, is this the title? Marriage advice and relationship help?
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right. This is good. So last time we covered some very important topics. I think the last time... Oh, we caught the guy that was practicing voyeurism on like a family that was living with him in his house, right? Yeah. We got that one. That's a very good episode that you should go check out. Episode 3. Now streaming on a streaming service near you. Anonymous participant. So we say anonymous typically, so I'll say anon. That's who I'll refer to this poster as, but they have no name attached to it. My husband told me back in October he was no longer in love with me because the spark is gone. He still loves me, but not in love with me. He told me 2 days ago he still feels that way. He admitted to me today he wishes he could have dated our babysitter. Oh no. Mm-hmm. This got really sad for just a second, and now I'm like, this isn't good. He wishes he could see the outcome of his life with her versus his life with me. I'm heartbroken. I do everything for this man and literally does the bare minimum in this marriage. Is there any fixing this? I have asked correction, begged this man to go to counseling, and he refuses. Any advice? Is my marriage over? And it says there's 24 answers. Oh, baby. Okay. What are your thoughts, Darci? Do I need to go over anything again?
The fact that he admitted, like, man, I wish I would have pursued that babysitter back in the day, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty crazy. It's not even, like, I don't know. There's, like, a point of, like, being honest with your spouse, and then there's a point of just being a douchebag.
I was going to say, is he too honest here?
Yeah.
Where he's like, not only am I not in love with you, but I wish I could have dated the girl that was here before.
Right. Like, all he had to say was, like, bring up some problems about their marriage and that he's not happy with her and maybe they can work on it. He didn't have to go into, like, my biggest regret is the babysitter. Mm-hmm. I wish I could have seen my life more with her. Yeah. I made a mistake staying with you instead. Like, that's insane to me. That's too far.
So I actually I empathize, right? Empathy?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, got it. I remembered it. Hey, shout out to episode 1. I empathize with the husband in this first part. Not the babysitter part. When we got to that part, I kind of got surprised. But he said... Back in October, he was no longer in love with me because the spark is gone. Okay, so here's the thing. Disagree with me. love is a choice. So it's not feeling based. It's
Right.
not based on emotion. It's not based on like, I feel in love with you. It's like a choice you have to make every day, because you're not going to feel it every day. Marriage, you're not going to wake up every day, head over heels for somebody. And like in theory, you should be. If it's the person you spend your life with, it's going to be someone you know you're compatible with. But you're not always going to feel it. You're not going to be like lovey-dovey all the time.
Right.
You're not always going to want to wake up cuddling, holding hands. You're not going to be sleeping together, or I'm sorry, having intimacy together every day. That dies down after a while. So you're not going to be every day waking up with that same high that you had on your wedding day, or when you first asked her out and she said yes, or when you first got engaged. That high goes down. Okay, so that's the problem with when somebody says, I'm no longer in love with you. Okay, the spark is not something that lasts forever. So that's my first problem with the husband. But she does go on to say, he still loves me, but not in love with me. That's the part I do empathize with, because the girl I was telling you about a couple episodes ago on the main show was like, there was that girl I broke up with. I had feelings for her. I felt very strongly about her, and I would even go as far as to say I loved her, but I wasn't in love with her. That wasn't a choice I was willing to make with her, to be in love with her. There is a difference. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
About loving someone and being in love?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Big difference. Okay. Right. I can say to you, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. Same thing, it's Shaps. Our friend Sydney, who we had earlier today on the show, I love her, but I'm not in love with her. I got plenty of girlfriends that I'm not in love with. Okay, but we have really good conversations. We open up to each other. We share our lives together. We have fun together. We share the bad times together, but I'm not in love with any of them. Okay. It sounds like what your husband did was he decided based on your willingness to date him, your willingness to marry him. You might have been the first girl to say yes, and he just kind of rode off of that.
Did they say they had kids?
Well, if they had a babysitter.
Did they specify? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Duh.
I mean, unless they were doing some weird role playing. Who is the baby in that situation, huh?
The babysitter was for the husband.
Yeah, I was going to say, who wore the diapers? Do you have any thoughts to add to what I just said?
Not like really, but I don't know. It's insane to me that you can like marry someone, have kids with them, and I'm assuming since they're posting in Christian chat that they are Christian.
Right.
And to just be like, oh, I'm not in love with you anymore and I regret not going with someone else. Like that's
to be on the receiving end of that is so horrible. Okay, I've heard the I don't love you anymore. I've gotten that text, and I said text because I wasn't worth a phone call. I wasn't worth an in-person conversation. But I've been on the receiving end of that, where someone who tells you I love you all the time, they kind of try to take it back. It's a horrible position to be in, and there's nothing you can do about it because you can't change their mind. You can't reason with them. Because they made their mind up. That's the thing you should figure out while you're dating. If you're not in love with them, you're not in love with them. You know what I mean? If it's not a choice you can make with somebody, then the way to figure that out is to not get lovey-dovey right out the gate, Well,
it seems like he has this, like, grass is greener on the other side illusion, or delusion.
That's the other thing. So on the husband's end, there's always going to be somebody prettier. There's always going to be someone younger. There's always going to be somebody that you could have a different life with. It could be the same. It could be different. It could be better. It could be worse. There's always going to be that person in your life that, like, man, I wonder what things would have been differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? But once you're married, you made that decision with that other person. Like, it's the person you want to spend your life with. So on the husband's end, I think what probably happened was,
I think he started fantasizing.
That's
where it started.
I mean, I'm trying to think of how he got married to this girl in the first place. So on his end, did he think she changed? Is she not as fun as she used to be? If he's fantasizing with the babysitter, like, what are the attributes that he sees in her that he's not getting from his wife? So she gets to go home at the end of the day. You know what I mean? She comes over to his place to do work, to watch the kids, and then she maybe doesn't have kids of her own. She goes home. So whatever it is, doesn't matter. He's not feeling it with his wife anymore, and this sucks for her. I got news for you, buddy. Like, you wish you could see the outcome of your life with her versus your life with your wife. Again, that you can play the what if in any scenario. Any person you come across, there's always someone prettier and younger. There's always someone more carefree. There's always a different life you could have had.
And there's people that you're not going to have the same problems with as your spouse that, are a big deal to you. But the thing is, like, you're going to have problems with everyone, no matter who they are,
Yeah. And that
they're just going to be different problems.
Let's say you do break up with your wife and you go with this babysitter. You're going to hit the same snafu a couple years down the line. Once you start giving her kids, you're going to start feeling the same way. Well, she's not as carefree. She's not blah, blah. And then what? You're going to fall in love with the next babysitter? You know what I mean? You're going to fall in love with the maid. You know what I'm saying? You're not fit to be married, period, at this point. You know what I'm saying? You need to work. I don't think you should be married to this woman, but I think you need to stay in between relationships while you try to figure out who you are and what you want out of your life. Do you want a relationship? Do you want a marriage? Do you need to stay single forever? That's something you need to figure out for you. I don't think you found out who you were while you were single. I think you jumped into a relationship and then realized, hey, I'm not fulfilled. This isn't what I wanted.
Right.
I think you married the wrong person.
Did she say that he's not willing to like work on it?
Yep.
She did. Okay.
Says, I'm heartbroken. I do everything for this man and literally does the bare minimum in this marriage. So it's worded weird. Is there any fixing this? I have asked correction, begged this man to go to counseling, and he refuses. Any advice? Is my marriage over? I'm going to say yes. You're not going to change his mind. Again, I've also been on the other end where, again, I wasn't feeling it with this other girl. I loved her, but I wasn't in love with her. And, I mean, she wanted me to change my mind, and my mind was made up. We hadn't gotten married at that time. And, of course, we never did. But I made that choice before I was in a spot where I couldn't take it back.
I don't understand people that, like, get married and have kids and then just aren't willing to work on things.
Right.
And, like, I understand if, like, the significant other cheated and not wanting to work on it, being like, no, like, I don't care to work on this. You cheat on me. I get that. But
I agree.
if it's just they're having problems, whether it be communication, whether she changed, whether you changed, like, I don't understand people that are just like, no, like, I'm not even willing to try.
That's the thing. Like, he's already got a life with this person.
Right.
So, like, wouldn't you want to try to fix that?
Right.
Wouldn't you want to try and work on it? Because maybe in therapy, you can figure out not just what you're doing wrong and refix your thinking, restructure what your heart's feeling, but maybe the therapist could also pull the best out of your wife and highlight the things that she could also fix to where it's not such a big deal in your head anymore. So they can, the therapist's job is to, like, get y'all to work on it. We had Erica on our show not too long ago, who's a therapist. Now, in her opinion, not every marriage is worth saving. But in this instance, you have something that you're trying to save. You have something that you're trying to salvage. You got kids involved. You got someone who's heartbroken. Let's see. He says...
Because from what it sounds like, he hasn't physically cheated at all.
Right.
But he did mentally cheat where he was fantasizing about being with another person.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, especially since he's like being upfront and honest about it, that can be worked on if he wants to. But it seems like because he was so like blatantly honest about it, like, you know what I mean? The fact he wasn't just like, we have problem, like the fact he said specifically about the babysitter and all this, like, that just gives me the impression like he was brutally honest in a way to be like, I'm done.
Right. Yeah, because I don't see anything in here from his side where he's saying, like, well, I want to work on things, or maybe there's still potential. It looks like he's kind of just shut it out completely. He doesn't have any feelings to fall back on for her. Any advice? Is my marriage over? As far as the marriage is concerned, yeah, I would say. I think it's over because you're not going to change his mind.
Right.
Do you have any advice, though, for her, other than pray about it? Because the only thing that's going to work is a heart change on his end. So as a Christian, like, the only thing you can do on your end is pray for him, pray for your marriage, but it's going to take a conversion on his end to where he's happy with you. He's happy with the life that y'all have built together, a decision y'all made together to love each other.
The only advice I could think of for that, if he's not willing to work on it himself, is just kind of like, think about what got him to want to marry you in the beginning. What have you changed since then? You know what I mean? Like, did you used to put a lot of effort into making his favorite meal once a week? Did you used to, go out and do things together? Dates, especially, when you have kids, like, those are so important to be alone with each other. And so just kind of thinking about, okay, well, when we first started falling in love with each other, what were some of the attributes that he fell in love with, and have I been doing them recently?
Yeah.
And if you haven't, maybe try and doing some of those things, you know?
And again, it's not going to be an everyday thing where you're able to recapture the spark, because again, the feelings, the emotions, those comes in highs and lows. Mm-hmm. Those don't maintain. You can't maintain that high level of emotion that you had toward the beginning. But maybe some of those things can help remind him why he fell in love with you in the first place. That's a good advice to go to. And there you go. You don't even have to go to counseling. You don't even have to do anything like that. You're just reminding him what he's missing potentially. Mm-hmm. I've actually kind of fallen into that category as well. It's like, be the man that what's that Morgan Wallen song? You started fantasizing about a guy you never met. So he's picturing a perfect relationship or a life with this babysitter that he's never actually pursued. He's never, he's fantasizing about a life he's never had. So he's wanting something that in the rest of our minds probably actually don't exist. You know what I mean? He's building up this life in his head that actually hasn't happened. Mm-hmm. So his expectations are actually probably a lot higher than reality. Because the life he's dreaming up is a fantasy. It's never actually, one, may never actually happen, and two, it's probably unattainable and unrealistic. So that's another thing that he needs to consider is like what he's fantasizing about is probably never going to be reality, and he's never going to achieve it. Mm-hmm. That's another pitfall that some men that are longing for something better fall into. So is this part, do I need to slide? Or do you get the whole thing?
There.
Well, is this one just cut off?
That one's cut off, but that one was like decent advice, but I wanted to read the funny one.
God forbid we get someone with insight in here. Oh, yeah. So, Anon, I feel for you. I'm sorry. It's tough. When someone tells you I don't love you anymore, it's not easy to hear. Unfortunately, in that scenario, all you can do is work on yourself, work on what you can control, and what you can focus on, because you're not going to change the other person's mind. Maybe you can by reminding him what he's missing, or trying to do some of the things that, again, like Darci said, made him fall in love with you in the first place.
Right. It's like when the girl falls out of love with the guy, is it because he used to like buy her flowers all the time and then he stopped, or what have you? And so, are you starting to read the comment?
Okay. Aaron Robinson says he was so nice enough to stop by and comment on this post. Aaron, you're a saint. He says, ask the babysitter over. You and your husband enjoy quality time with her. And then point out to your husband that's how amazing you are as a wife. And if he doesn't change his mind about how he feels about you, nothing will. Aaron, I love you. Okay, so at my church, I won't say where, we encourage people to lean into awkward. So Aaron here comes in swinging, no F's given. He says, ask the babysitter over. You and your husband enjoy quality time with her. So he actually takes our advice and says, show your husband what he's missing. Okay, let him play both fields, both sides of the fence. You sit on it, and both of y'all pull his legs. Okay, and then he says, then point out to your husband, that's how amazing you are as a wife. Okay, so show him how cool of a wife you are, and have the babysitter over. If he doesn't change his mind about how he feels about you, nothing will. I want you to remind your husband why he married you. Show him how open-minded you are, okay? Instead of having your husband play both sides of the fence, you build that fence yourself, all right? You take matters into your own hands, all right? Because you know what? Aaron's got a point.
Shut your mouth.
What? This is a Christian... I can't do this anymore. All right.
Having marriage problems? Have a threesome.
Yeah.
That'll fix it.
Just bring a third.
Yeah.
Okay. Someone younger, more energy. All right. So Tara responds to Aaron and says, you are sickening and a womanizer. And that got 10 thumbs up, which is higher than Aaron's comment, which got 9 reactions. A bunch of them were the angry face, and then a bunch of them were the mouth wide open agape face. Okay. So Not a lot of good reception for Aaron, but Tara calls him a womanizer. Aaron says, she asked how to fix things. Maybe this is the way. All right, so that got 2 laugh emojis. So that's pretty good. Tara again responds with grow up. All right, that's not bad. Okay, because Aaron seems like a degenerate. Aaron says, what? I'm with you, Aaron. I don't know what her problem is. Please tell me it's not the last one.
I can find where there was more.
Okay. All right. So the other one was cut off. It didn't actually just say what. He says, what suggestions do you have to help this lady? Tara responds, not listen to fools like you for starters. And that got a plethora of thumbs up and hearts and laugh emojis. Okay, so Jenny... Probably shouldn't have said her last name. So Jenny comes in and responds to Tara and says, a lot of married couples are into this type of relationship. There is a lot of females are against it. That's worded weird. Mm-hmm. It does not another human a bad person because their sexuality goes further than just husband and wife. And no, I'm not into this either. But calling someone sick because they enjoy some extra kinky, naughty excitement is being judgmental. Yes, Jenny, you have a point.
No, she doesn't. No, she doesn't.
No. Her first thing said, a lot of married couples are into this type of relationship. That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as a Christian married couple, though, or at least you shouldn't be.
I know. I don't get how this little thread went so far bad.
Yeah.
On a Christian site.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned for
even in like a secular posting field, like this would still be wild to me.
No, I agree actually. So like the fact that, well, okay, it's only Aaron that's like, yeah, bring a third person in here. You know what I mean? It's only Aaron that's into that, and everyone else seems to be reacting with like, disgust, shock, repulsion. Yeah. So everyone else seems to, except for Jenny, who says, it's not as uncommon as you think. A lot of people are into poly relationships. Doesn't make anyone a bad person, but sometimes it goes further than husband and wife. But then she clarifies, no, I'm not into this either. But calling someone sick because they enjoy this is being judgmental. And that actually got 2 heart emojis. Okay. Well, Jenny, you and who's that? Aaron with your upside down pineapple ways. Best of luck to you. I don't think you're married. I don't know why.
I hope not.
No, yeah, because God, his poor wife. But Aaron, based on your profile picture where you're standing there by yourself with the weird look into the camera that you're clearly trying to hold at an angle above your head, which is bald. I hope you're not married, but if you are, I'm so sad for your wife. I think you should, it's not that I hate your advice. I just think you're in the wrong channel for it. I don't think you should be here. This is a married couple advice for, I can't stress this enough, Christian married couple. The key word is Christian, and that's where I messed up. This is for Christian marriages, and I think you're in the wrong place. So I think you need to take your polyamorous insight somewhere else. I don't think this is the place to have it, buddy. All right, give me the next one, Darcy. Anon, if you read this, I hope you found some good insight into your marriage, because
that doesn't involve a third.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie to you, your request was a doozy. Unfortunately, there's no magical cure. There's no love potion that you can craft for your husband, probably soon to be ex-husband, that would make him fall in love with you again. But if you take just a small hint of our advice, maybe you'll find some closure in your situation. All right, next comes from Brittany. Oh, this one has a name. I'm shocked. Okay, Brittany, you say, my husband won't ever come home, and when he is home, he doesn't ever talk to me. Only time he stays home is when he's sick. I don't know how else I can get him to want to be with me. Can any men help me, please? I call him and he ignores all my calls and texts.
Let's hope Aaron's not on this comment
Yeah,
thread.
because he's about to go crazy on this. Just be like, well, you want to be interesting. Okay, you want to spice up this relationship. Call your babysitter. I'm surprised he didn't try to plug himself into that thread. Like, just call me. Here's my number.
Yeah.
You want to keep it spicy. Okay. Okay, so Brittany, my husband won't ever come home. When he's home, he doesn't ever talk to me. Come home from work. Only time he stays home when he is sick. Okay, Brittany. It sounds like you and your husband don't connect very well. Darcy, how do you think, as a wife, how can you better connect with your husband to where he wants to spend time with you?
Don't look at me like that. Stop. I can't be serious if you're looking like that.
This isn't a serious podcast, Darcy. All right, so Darcy just did a very crude hand gesture using the hot dog and the donut hole.
Oh God,
no! Yeah, no, I can't cut that out either.
So,
okay.
To me, it sounds like, I mean, he works a lot.
Hold that thought. She asked, Can any men help me, please?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so...
Never mind, I'll shut up.
Yeah, I think you need to back up here. I think that's the problem, Brittany, is you're probably talking his ear off too much. How many times are you calling him? How many times are you texting him? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? If he's ignoring every call and every text, well, how many times are you blowing up his phone?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you hitting him with too many, where are you at? You almost home yet? How come you're ignoring me? You don't ever talk to me. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so how much is good enough for you? How much is, how much is too much on your end? How much is there? Okay, this is kind of broad. What's good communication look like on your end? What do you want? How much do you want him to interact with you? Okay. I understand. Do you think there's something else going on here with him not wanting to come home? Do you think he's staying? Is he working longer hours? Do you think are you suggesting he stays out overnight? Is he staying at someone else's house, a friend's house? He comes home when he's sick, so when he literally can't work, that's when he comes home. Is he actually at work when he says he is?
I'm curious at the job he has too, because I know a lot of people that work like a couple cities away, whether it be like oil stuff or construction. Gotcha. And so I'm curious if he's just like in a different town. And so, the only time he's really home is when he's sick. And so he's like actually literally not there overnight. And a lot of people that have jobs like that won't answer their phone on the job because they're doing dangerous work and don't really quite have the time.
Yeah. There's actually potentially, Brittany, very many layers to this question. Okay, so from a guy's perspective, what I want out of a relationship is a woman who won't shut up. Okay, but on your husband's end, that might be actually what's pushing him away from you, is the constant calling, the constant text. From a guy's perspective, it can be seen as nagging. It could be seen as the wife that's possessive. Now, just going based off of what you're saying, it's actually rather short for the layers and layers of problems that you could be having in your marriage, right? I don't have the whole story. But if you want more communication from your husband, maybe the best thing to do is to chill out on the calls and texts. It sounds like your husband isn't good at communication. So, good luck talking him into therapy. Good luck talking him into some kind of session where he feels comfortable to opening up, to spending more time with you, to wanting to work on these things. It sounds like you married a guy who wants to push back and not deal with the situation as opposed to tackling a situation. So he's at work dealing with whatever he's dealing. If he is working somewhere 3 towns away at like an oil field where he has to stay the night, maybe he's working a tougher job where he's allowed to work nights, right? Where he doesn't want to come home. He can work a double shift. Okay. If he's working all those hours and he's having all these problems, and then at the same time, his wife's blowing up his phone with all these phone calls and texts, maybe instead of dealing with the conflicts that are arising in his life and marriage, he actually would prefer to push them off. Okay? There's so many layers to this. It might not just be a communication thing. Maybe it's like he's smothered. Maybe he's not smothered. Maybe he just doesn't want to deal with you. Maybe he feels overwhelmed. Maybe he just doesn't like you. It could
There's a little too many maybes here with not enough information.
I know. There's really nothing here for us to go off of.
It'll show more. Just
okay, same poster. Brittany, she responds.
Well, read the comment right there, though.
I got you. Okay, so from a man's perspective, Okay, and there's plenty of answers here. I like it, but for my first thoughts are you might have married the wrong person because he's not handling it at all. He's not if he ignores you, if he doesn't want to spend any time with you. I don't think you married a guy who is worth marrying, honestly. So you might have to start calling lawyers. If he's never home, good luck serving him the paperwork. So, all right, Logan responds, do you have any pics of yourself? Have you let yourself go since you got married? So that post right there got 2 mouth open emojis reactions. Okay. All right. So Niam, I think that's how you say it. Niam responds to Logan and says, so you're shallow. Don't know why you'd want the world to know that, but now we all do. Okay. So Logan asked a good question. Have you let yourself go?
I feel like it's a fair question, but it's also
Yes.
kind of like for that to be his immediate thought was a
Right.
bit shallow.
Right.
Like it is a fair thing. Like if you let yourself go, you don't take care of yourself. You're not, like, I don't know. If you used to do your hair all the time and your makeup and your nails and you just like suddenly stop and
Is it a fair question to ask? Like, your husband literally can't come home because you're blocking the doorway. We don't know because you didn't give us a picture of yourself, Brittany. Okay, Logan asked you for pics. Okay, pics or it didn't happen. Pics or it did happen. I don't know. Okay, but maybe your husband literally can't come home unless he's sick and he has to force his way through the doorway. He's got to lay down at some point. All right. Okay, on your end, Brittany, I could see how you can communicate with him better. Again, I would back off on the calls and text messages, but maybe when he is home. Okay, when he comes home when he's sick, maybe you can find a way to tell him nicely without nagging his ear off, or doing it in a way where he's not coming back again for a while, that you miss him. Sometimes appealing to his emotions, okay? Telling him, what'd you do?
I'm just really excited because if this is the post I'm thinking of, you're about to eat all of your words so hard right now.
No way. Okay. Well, we'll get there. Here's a situation I had in college. I had a roommate that I could not stand. Living together was the worst decision I ever made because outside of living together, we were really good friends. When we lived together, I could not stand to be around him. His jokes made me annoyed. They didn't make me laugh. I didn't want to spend any time with him because it got to the point where his laughing just got under my skin. It rubbed me the wrong way. When something was misplaced in the bathroom, it was his fault. Or at least in my eyes they were. I wanted to start blaming him for stuff. I wanted to yell at him for all the things that I considered flaws. I wanted nothing to do with him. So any chance I got to be outside the apartment away from him, I took. A friend called me to hang out somewhere else. I took the deal. What he ended up doing was I got home one day after working a late shift in the evening, and he sat me down on the couch and he laid it out for me. He said, look, dude, I miss you. I miss hanging out with you. And he asked me, what could I do better? Okay. So he appealed to my emotions, and it allowed me to air out my grievances with him. It allowed me to talk and communicate. At the time, I wasn't the best at communicating my thoughts and feelings. I had issues where I bottled stuff in, stuff that bugged me I didn't address with him. It let me know that I had a communication issue. So what he did was he addressed it head on. He didn't call me and text me every 20 minutes. Asking me where I was, asking for an update, asking when I'd come home. He just waited for me to come home. He was already on the couch. And he confronted me about it, basically. And he said, like, look, dude, I miss you. I miss hanging out with you. We don't hang out anymore. We don't talk anymore. He addressed the stuff that you're having with your husband. Okay? He appealed to my emotions, and we got to kind of talk it out. So, I used to struggle with the same issue you're struggling with. And now Darci says there's a comment coming up that's going to make me change my whole opinion on this. So,
if I remember this correctly.
And knowing you don't forget anything. So let's see. All right. Somebody comments, doing this online is not healthy for any relationship. If you want closeness, don't out your spouse on social media. Okay, I almost agree with this comment. So, what do you think about that, Darci? Do you think she should have kept this to herself?
I mean, she's in a Christian marriage chat
Yeah.
for advice. I mean, like, Yeah, you don't want to. It probably would have been better if she posted anonymously.
Sure.
I think that is like a good thing to do if you're complaining about your spouse and need advice on something to post like that. So
I mean, I know her name now.
Right.
I can look up.
Right.
I can.
We know who her husband is if we click on her Facebook page. So
Right.
I get where this comment's coming from. I think if she would have done it anonymously, they wouldn't have posted a comment like that.
Last episode, I got on to the anonymous member for being like typing out a response to the comments instead of calling the police on the guy that was recording that family peeing on the toilet. Okay. Instead of being on Facebook typing out what you plan on doing, why don't you go do it?
Right.
There's a crazy thought. All right. So I actually don't disagree with that comment too much. So, oh no.
Do you see what I'm...
So Brittany comments, alone again.
This is a separate post.
Separate
on
post.
It's a screenshot of a post where she commented alone again on her Facebook page.
Yeah. Okay, so Brian, her husband, comments under what Brittany just posted. So Brittany says, alone again. Brian says, I'm always here and just as alone. All you have to do is see me instead of wanting constantly for me to be different. You should see me and allow me to be who I am, the way I allow you to be who you are, and you demand. I love you in every way except for when you don't take your medicine and yell at me and talk down to me and are hateful toward me. And I know that's not the real you, because the real you is beautiful, loving, and everything great that I married you for. And I want you to know, as long as I'm alive, you are never alone. And then Brittany decides to respond with, you won't even lay with me like you love me. All right. I've seen enough here. Brian, I feel for you. I can't give you all the details as to why.
Wait, does that pertain to the screenshot? Someone say something?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Okay. So, the person who posted, doing this online is not healthy for any relationship. If you want a closeness, don't out your spouse on social media. That's why. Because now we can click on your Facebook and we can see who your husband is, what he responds back to you. Now all your drama is on Facebook. Okay. Brian, this is a very telling side to your story. So Kimberly decides to respond to the screenshot. Okay. Kimberly chimes in. There are always two sides to every story. Brittany, you have to let go of the need for control. Let your husband be himself. You initiate the intimacy. From his reply to your post, it sounds like he won't turn you away. Don't feel bad. Most of us females have control issues. It's those of us who have learned to chill out who have happier marriages.
It's pretty good.
Okay, Kimberly, I love you. I hope you are married. You look very happy in your picture. I hope that you found somebody who is willing to see things the way you do, because that's the best advice I think I could have said. I don't think I could have said it to myself. So she says there's always two sides to every story, which is true. So originally we just got Brittany's. She said, my husband never wants to be around me. My husband, when he's home, he's just sick, and then he's gone. Okay. So Brian chimed in with, well, okay, look, I'm just as alone too, because whenever I'm home, you berate me, you talk down to me, you make me feel like crap. I've been in those scenarios where you spend time with someone who is constantly chopping you down, making you feel small. The little attention you give them, they crack the door, they kick that door open and they take the mile. Okay, they'll get in your house and they won't leave your house. They won't leave you alone. They're blowing up your everything. Okay, and it's like, no matter what you say, they're not happy with the explanation you give them. You didn't reply fast enough. Okay, so Brittany, what I told you before, quit calling him, quit texting him, because you're blowing up his phone. You're driving him crazy. When he is home and you're just always talking down to him, where were you at? Where, how come you didn't respond to my call? How come you didn't respond to my text? Because you're suffocating the guy. Okay? The little respite he's supposed to get from being at home, he's not getting it. You're smothering him. He can't breathe.
I just want to point out how Brittany had posted, at the time of the screenshot, Brittany had posted that 4 days ago, and he commented that same day
Yeah.
of 4 days ago, and then the next comment was 22 hours ago. So, like, she just, like, left it alone for, like, 3 days and was like, you won't even lay with me like you love me. Do you know how mad I would be as a spouse if I just log on to Facebook and my husband's just out here alone again? Like, what are you even doing?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And from what it seemed like, because I'm pretty sure I clicked on her page and scrolled, and she has, like, a lot of stuff like this where she's just, like... You know how, like, when Facebook first came out and you were, like, 12 and you're, like, just went to the store, you know, just bought a banana, like, all of the, like, the stupid tiny updates that nobody cares about.
Right.
And that's just the way people posted on Facebook when it first happened. That's what this reminds me of.
I once posted a long time ago that I was playing Cube World. Do you know how many likes I got?
2.
None. Because no one cared.
Right.
All right. So, remind me. So, are you saying Alone Again reminded you of that? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, just her Facebook page in general, because she's just posting those 2-word, 3-word things where it's like, alone again, missing my husband again, waiting for my husband again. You know, it's just like these short, and it was like, what are you doing?
Yeah. And then he went in there and chimed in. He's like, I'm always here.
And he sounded so sweet, too.
Yeah. He's like, I'm alone, too.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like his paragraph was so it drew sympathy from me. Mm-hmm. It made sense. It had communication in it. Right. And what was her comment right after?
You won't even lay with me like you love me.
Okay, so you ignored everything he said.
Right.
And you went straight for, well, you don't make me feel like you used to. Right? Me. It was all focused on you. You're self-centered. You only think about yourself. You don't consider his feelings, his emotions. Okay? You didn't even think about anything he said. You probably didn't even read his whole paragraph.
Right.
You bypassed his points, how he feels, because it's all about you. You're living in your own perfect world. You're not going to be happy. Your original post was talking about how he treats you bad. He ignores you. He doesn't see you.
He sounds so sweet in this.
Yes, because in that he
so
says...
loving.
He addressed all of that in his one little paragraph, which yours, I want to point out, was pretty big. All right. And his was just as big with, I do see you. I do care. I'm always here. Mm-hmm. And he laid out his problems. He laid out why he won't spend time with you or give you the attention that you want.
She's not taking her medicine.
Yeah.
That was a big one. So obviously, I guess we can assume she has some pretty severe mental health issues.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it's like a personality disorder, bipolar disorder, what have you. To where when she doesn't take her medicine, she's like this.
Right. Absolutely.
Whereas then if she takes it, like maybe, you know, he was saying like, when you don't take your medicine, yell at me, talk down to me, say hateful words towards me. It's not the real you, because the real you is beautiful, loving, and everything great that I married you for. And I want you to know, as long as I'm alive, you're never alone. So it's like, to me, I'm getting like bipolar or, you know,
manic.
Something.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm getting mental health issues. Brian posted, you didn't take your meds. And it sounds like when you're not on your meds, Brittany, that you're very mean. You only... I won't even say you just listen to keywords, you know, because you didn't address anything he addressed. You went straight for what he won't do for you. I didn't hear you once say what you can do for him or considering his feelings or how he feels. Everything I read in your paragraphs screams what someone can do for you, the attention you're not getting, the self-centeredness is just bleeding out into all the paragraphs you write. Everything you say screams, I don't care what I can do for him. Right. It's more so what he can do for me.
And it seems like she's not even looking for advice either. She's just looking to complain.
Right.
And, you know, like that one lady, like the fact that she just like posted it out there like that, not anonymously, not anything else. And then not even in the group either. Like that was her public Facebook page that she said alone again. It wasn't in the Christian Marriage and Advice group. It was her own personal Facebook page for all of her friends and family to see. Do
you not get annoyed when somebody posts marriage problems on their social media and it's like, we all know who you're married to,
right?
So you're telling us that your husband does or doesn't do these things for you, or he's doing this, and it's, you know, it makes him look like a jerk. Does that not bug you?
It does, but I think the thing that bugs me the most is when somebody's like, guys, please don't text or call me. I'm really going through a lot right now. And then somebody, like, all these comments are like, are you okay? And they're like, I private messaged you.
Yeah.
I messaged you on Messenger. I'll text you. And it's like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Right.
Those are the ones that annoy me the most.
Right.
I'm like, can you stop, like, attention seeking right now?
Yeah, I mean, and there are some people that post that their opinions are just blatantly wrong. Those are what annoy me. The one time I got mad at somebody was when this one girl that I knew in high school had clearly gained a ton of weight in her pictures, and she started getting mad at clothing companies. So she was like, oh man, I used to fit in a size, I don't know, what's a good size for a woman? That's like
an average size?
Yeah.
8?
8? Okay. And
6,
then,
8.
Well, she was in like a size 14 now instead of an 8 like she used to, and she was like complaining like, I am not a 14. Clothing companies should be ashamed that they make women feel tight in their clothes. It's like, lady, go on a diet. Like, it's not, don't blame the clothing companies. The sizes stay the same unless I'm wrong.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. That's what they do.
It depends. If I go to Target, I'll be like a size 8 or 10. And then if I go to like Forever 21, I'm a size 14.
Yeah.
And then if I go to somewhere else, I'm a 12. Like, there is no, yeah, it does switch up.
All right. Well, I don't have where she shopped, but I do have the fact that like she went up a few sizes and decided to blame clothing companies.
Right. I mean, why are you, well, because my question is, why are you letting, I mean, if you feel you're not overweight, then why are you letting the clothing size bother you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it doesn't bother me the times I do have to get a 14 because I feel like I'm not overweight, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't I don't see why people have such a big problem with it. Now, what does bother me is the fact that to get like a large shirt as a woman or like an extra large, you have to go into the plus size section.
Oh, yeah.
That's a little rude because it's like, damn.
I could see why that would annoy you.
Yeah, that can be a little annoying.
Yeah. But back to Brian and Brittany, I'm going to have to say, Brittany, you need to back off. You're smothering him. If you're cutting him down all the time like he says he is.
He's not going to want to be home with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, he is avoiding you. The same way I avoided my guy in college. Again, did I handle it well? No, but like what else is Brian supposed to do? Mm-hmm. If you're always talking down to him, making him feel like less of a man. Okay, I'm assuming in all your calls and text messages, you're yelling at him. You're telling him, he's not a man for answering the phone. I mean, Lord knows what she's texting him.
I love that we got to have a little bit of both perspectives on this.
Yeah, I agree, because most of the time it's one-sided.
Yeah.
When someone posts anonymously, we're not allowed to look them up and figure out who their husband is that they're complaining about.
Let's get to this one.
Do we got time?
We got 10 minutes.
I don't know if we got time for this one. Oh, no. How many comments are on this one? Okay, all right, we got this. Can an adopted son marry the biological daughter of the same family who is adopted? Please, your contribution is needed here. No, go ahead and laugh. All right, adopt a son, marry the...
Here's my first question. Okay, and this makes the biggest bit of a difference to me. How old were you when you got adopted? Like, did they just bring two 16-year-olds in together? Because, like, if that's the case, I understand. Like, okay, you guys weren't raised together. Like, you're living together. Like, you don't see each other as siblings. Like, that, it's still a little weird. But, like...
It's very weird. Okay,
yeah.
You have the same last name.
Right.
Okay.
On the bright side, when you get married, you wouldn't have to change your last name.
That's true. There's no bright side to this, Darcy. Okay, because the emojis they use is the eye rolling and the shrug emoji. Meaning, and they say, please, your contribution is needed here. Meaning they need an answer quick. Otherwise, this marriage is going to be off or it's going to be low attendance.
But, like, I don't know. To me, the biggest thing is, like, age. Like, how old were you when you got adopted? Like, I mean, it's still weird. Don't get me wrong. I'm not encouraging this.
I don't think this matters.
But, you know, if you guys were raised from birth together pretty much, then I'm very appalled. Like, I'm very disgusted by that, whether it's blood relation or not. You know what I mean?
That is your sister, buddy.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first instinct as a man, okay, this anonymous participant, I understand you don't want to put your name on this. I get it. You didn't ask for a man's perspective like Brittany did, but my first perception as a man is no, don't do it.
Right.
It's bad. Wrong. Okay, but it sounds like that the decision's already been made because you did the shrug emoji, meaning it's out of our hands. So you just want some reinforcement on this this marriage that sounds like you organized. Nicole says yes, but it might seem weird to certain people.
Certain people or most people?
Me. This is a very weird question for me, Darcy. And that got a thumbs up. Okay. Can they get married legally, though? Because Nicole starts off saying yes, but it might seem weird to certain people. So can they get married legally?
I don't know.
I don't either. Is it legal? Oof, I don't know. Definitely not ethical.
Right.
Okay?
Definitely not moral.
Yeah, no. Jesus wouldn't approve of this marriage. Okay, but I don't know if there's a legal standpoint. Lisa says, I don't see the problem. It wouldn't be the first time two kids were put together and fell in love. I don't want to make her sound like a country guy who's like, yeah, let's go. Okay.
Stepsis, what are you doing?
Stepsis, what are you doing? You can't control how you feel.
Struggling there?
That's how long I can hold that voice. You can't control how you feel, and they had time to bond and become best friends first.
And siblings.
They're not related by blood, so I don't think it's weird or shocking. Thank you, Lisa, for your minimum contribution to this post.
See, but if I had, like, let's say if my mom got remarried and she remarried when I was a kid, and then I fell in love with the person that's my father figure. Yeah. Like, that would be weird. We're not blood related. That doesn't make it, like, not weird, and nobody's gonna be like, oh, you can't control it. Like, no, that's like your dad. This is your brother, sister, whatever.
Lisa, your post screams defeat. Okay. She says, it wouldn't be the first time two kids were put together and fell in love. Well,
I wonder if she personally relates to this.
Yeah, she was going to say, well, it's not the first time. Looks at her husband, who's also her brother. But a ding, 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 ding. Yep.
Sweet home Alabama.
They're not related by blood, so I don't think it's weird or shocking. All right, so the only thing holding them together is this pesky paperwork. Okay. Grace says, he is cleared, no blood relations. We're getting a lot of support for this.
I know.
I'm shocked.
I know. That's why I screenshot it.
I'm shocked with how many people are down for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Heather says, yes, they can, X. I don't know what the X means, but it means that you got the green light. Thanks, Heather. And look, she's in a very oh, no. So in Heather's profile picture, she's holding a kid on her back, and he's smiling ear to ear. That puts some the heavy implications on you, Heather. Who is that kid, and are y'all related?
Did you adopt him?
Yeah, did you adopt him, and he just knows what's coming next? I have questions for you, Heather. I'm not very convinced that kid on there knows what he just signed up for. Let's see. Oh, no. Grace is holding a baby. So, is that baby adopted? That baby's crying. Has he been put through something because he doesn't know what he signed up for? All right. Grace, I hope you don't share the same last name as the baby you're holding. Because if you are, then he's in for a world of hurt. Unless there's no blood relation, in which case you're fine. Okay. April lastly contributes to this and says, did they grow up together? Technically, yes, they can. They aren't blood related.
There's so many people that agreed with that.
Yeah, they're just like, they're all for it.
Me.
And April's smiling. She has no qualms with recommending, yeah, go ahead.
It makes me want to comment on there and be like, yeah, I see no problem with it because, my current dad adopted me, and since there's no blood relations, we'll be moving forward. Just to point out from a different perspective, like, no. Like, dude, with how many people are on the freaking planet? Like, this isn't the time of Genesis. Where, like, our only calling is to repopulate the earth because there's nobody else on it. You know what I mean? Like,
do you think Noah, after he hopped off the ark, had to clear it with God to repopulate populate the Earth, do you have to ask some clarifying questions about who he was allowed to procreate with or not? Okay, because I'm sure that the Earth was reasonably empty upon the Earth thawing out and the ark settling,
Right.
and the waters parting.
Like, my thing is, like, we're not in that time anymore. You know
Right.
what I mean? There's
Yeah.
billions.
Literally billions. Okay.
Literally. Of people. And you're choosing the person that you call your sister?
Coming from a guy who used to struggle dating, I tell you what, it's a big ocean, plenty of fish in the sea. Dating pool has never been wider, and with the access of online dating and all these other tools to meet the right person, you can look no further than beyond your family. Okay. So I would not recommend dating within the tree. Keep the tree clean. Okay. Have you tried dating interracially? Okay. That opens up a whole nother sea of people, a whole plethora. Okay. There's different people being added to the world every day too. That's the other thing. It's like the population is ever growing. So there's no shortage of options to pick from. I encourage you to look.
Are you telling them to go for kids?
Nope.
There's people being born every day, son.
All I'm saying is the Earth is getting more and more populated. You have no shortage of options. All right?
Yeah.
You
Maybe
can't-
your future wife just hasn't been born yet.
Look no further than beyond your family tree. That's the best I can say. The best advice I can give you is this post makes me sick to my stomach. Why would you ask such a horrible question?
Yeah.
I think you need to get out of here. At the very least, unadopt that kid. Okay, get your last name off that marriage certificate. Okay, or take that name off of the adoption certificate and put it on a marriage certificate. That's better. Okay, all right.
Oh my God.
I don't know the adoption policy on returns. I don't know if they're allowed or not.
No, they're not.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Darcy confirmed it that it's taboo to return an adoption. So, okay. It's also taboo to marry someone that you're related to by adoption. So, all right. I think that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us for a very late episode of The Third Wheel at Night. I hope you will join us next time. Go ahead. Look at that, guys. We made it to episode 4, and the crowd loves us. All right.
Was that a boo I heard in there?
I don't think that was a boo in there. They wouldn't
heard a
boo us.
boo.
We gave some quality top
I
tier
think I
advice.
heard a single boo.
Just one.
Yeah.
Well, that's not bad because we got a lot of applause. One boo ain't gonna kill us. All right, we get a bunch of those every day. Guys, thank you for joining us this week. We'll see you next time. Hope y'all had fun with us. Say bye, Darcy.
See you guys.
Bye.